Hey there everybody, Gamer19 here, and I'm going to show you two different sketchbook challenges that I have done from about 2 years ago, and I just barely finished it, to one for an Inktober kind of sketchbook challenge. And so let's begin with one of them. So this one for sketchbook challenge, it was started in the fall of 2020. It was hosted by one of my favorite artists, Matt Bush. Matt Bush has done many YouTube videos, You Could Draw Star Wars, as well as many other stuff. I'll provide a link in the description or in the comments. Be sure to check him out, especially if you want to know how to draw Star Wars and such. And so, it was a 50-week sketchbook challenge, and every week Matt would upload a video to provide topics to draw for the sketchbook challenge. And so it was pretty cool, and I was keeping up at first until I got to one of them, and that's when everything just kind of fall out because I kind of just procrastinated quite a bit. And now just 2 years later, I just finished it and such. But anywho, let's get started, shall we? So I have this one for the sketchbook challenge, and then I have this one for the Inktober challenge. But we're gonna go over the sketchbook challenge first. Do want to show you this, but my mom, she had gotten me a let me see if I can pull it up here. But she found it at our local Ross store, and it's a dual tip markers. And they're like similar to those Copic markers, as well as any other kind of markers. It'll provide like a, let me see if you can see it. It'll provide like a long, well, not right now, but like a more wider brush, while a more straight. And so I use these, as well as some other kind of markers I had. And for this side, I just did like how it looked on a paper such as this, especially since there's some bit of like, it's not like a full white color, it's like some bit of like tone to it and such. But let's just start on the first page. So the first page was a challenge called Nintendo, I believe. And the idea was that if you're like an employee at Nintendo and you're picked to create a new character for a new game and such, you'll just kind of do like a little concept art. And so this is what I did. I did Snowy, the snowman. And of course, on his title, there'll be like a hat right by the O, and of course, the main outfit will be a scarf and a tie, and then whenever he travels around, his hat would change his shape, but depending on the location he goes to. So next sketchbook challenge, I'm sorry, is called Dots, and oops, here we go, hitting the thing. So on Dots is where like you could grab your pen and just kind of like start tapping all over the paper, and then oftentimes what you can do is arrange them to start forming like a bit of a shape, and then just start putting the dots more closer together to kind of start creating more of depth as well as more color and such. And here I did the Polar Express, although it's kind of hard to tell, but it's the iconic shot scene that you see it all over the place from the films, posters, or the game, etc. I'll provide like a little image on the side just to show like comparison and such. And the next challenge here, it was called let me see, hold on. The next challenge is called Get Your Fill, and it's kind of like fill the page up with so many things you like, and of course none of that stuff is supposed to like touch, I believe. But here I have just a whole lot of Star Wars and of course Lego on it all over the place. And so you see like the rebellion symbol, the Empire symbol, the helmets, some Lego pieces and such. And then the next challenge was called Gesture. Now, this one's a pretty neat, fun one to do, and it's basically you'll just draw like stick figures in different poses. Unfortunately, I never really labeled labeled the pose actually. But this is Gesture. Now this next one here, I'm gonna have to edit the page and such. So there's gonna be an image above it showing this image as well as another image photoshopped together. But it was called Frame It. And the way you were gonna do it is like from what I understood was like you'll take your paper and put it next to an object or a building or a car, and on the paper you could do whatever it is you could think of. I think it'll be like similar to the photos where you'll see someone holding an image of a photo of say a building or location taken back in say the 1950s, and then they hold it up in front of their phone's camera recording, and you can see how the location's still there, and of course a lot of time's passed, but there's still a lot of features there and such. And the way the artist Matt Bush showed what we could also do is like you could have someone holding up the page of the sketchbook, and whatever part of the body that they're shown that was drawn, it'll be completely different. I'll provide some more examples in a bit, as well as maybe a thumbnail from when he did the challenge. But here, I kind of drew like my first car, and it was a 2003 Mitsubishi Lancer. And basically, what you're gonna see is, of course, a more sportier Mitsubishi Lancer right next to the the original model design, which is a standard car and such. So the next challenge is called Insets, and I decided to draw a dragonfly. And then of course I drew some little tips, details about the dragonfly, some little facts and such. Now this next one is called Maze, and I will say it's not my most favorite, but there's quite a bit that wasn't my most favorite. And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna have to create a maze, and or about creating a scenery also and such, and it's quite alright, not my most best. Then the next one is called the feminine eyes, or the girl's eyes, and so here's all the drawings of the girl's eyes I drew, and of course I placed a whole bunch of labels to show like who's had what. I forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure you've already done it, but if you want to take a more close look or a long look at the drawings, be sure to check out my DeviantArt page, because that's where I'll be posting these on, or having them on under a folder called Sketchbook Challenge, or you can pause the video also and just take a look and such. So over here, I basically drew on the female eyes a wide variety from anime to film to original paintings, and as well as not only that, but like the different styles. Like you got this Disney style to I think I had comic book style, and the shapes from different countries, and that's about it really and such. So the next one is called Animate the Inanimate Object. And what you gotta do here is you take your standard objects like a book or a briefcase, etc., and bring them to life, sort of like the cartoon, the Brave Little Toaster. So here's some examples of the characters I've drawn that I've given them like faces and such. Of course, you got the pen and pencil to the vacuum cleaner, present, the blue ball microphone, a violin, the sketchbook, a lamp, and of course those little alligator clips for the model kits and such. The next one is called the masculine eyes, and just like the female eyes, I drew various eye styles as well as labeling down on whose eyes it belongs to. And again, it would go from video game, anime, comic book, cartoon styles and such. Again, if you want to take a close look, you can pause the video or you can like check out on DeviantArt and such. So the next one is called Reptiles, and I drew, of course, a red-eyed tree frog. Fun fact, the red-eyed tree frog was actually one of the first reptiles I did like a research paper on way back when I was in elementary school. So the next one is called No Pencil. Here, what you gotta do is you're gonna take your pen and you need to just draw with pen only. Pen or marker, Sharpie, no pencil at all, period. And so I drew the Gundam, and I have a wide varieties I've done. Of course, you got the 40th anniversary of the with RH-78 doing its iconic pose, of course, without any battle damage. I got Barbados Gundam, Unicorn Gundam, Zeta Gundam. I think I got the Shining Gundam also, and I've completely forgotten. Oh no, Gundam Ezia, or I think it was the Seventh Sword, and there was another Gundam I did, but I completely forgot, to be honest. So that was overlap. The next one is plants. Actually, no, I don't think it was plants. Oh, okay, no, never mind. It was no plants. Hello. So here's no overlap, and this is where like you kind of just draw stuff, and they kind of like, I guess in a way they like overlap one another. So like even if let's say you draw, like here in the main background itself, I have the pirate flag from Gokaiger. Even though it's right there in the background, there's a whole lot of other stuff in the foreground that kind of like overlaps it and such. I'll put more description as to what's on here if you're unable to identify most of them. But other than that, so let's continue on. So after overlap, then there's the plants, and so I drew my native state's flower, and that is the bluebonnet. And of course, like with the dragonfly, I provide some facts or information about the bluebonnet. Then after plants was noses. It's gonna be hard to tell, but here on the noses, unlike the eyes, I didn't provide like whose nose it belonged to and such, and this might be a little bit hard to tell as I just drew mostly in pencil and such. So after nose, there was the birds, and I drew, of course, a little parakeet. So after birds, then comes the maps. Now, this was quite a fun one, and this is the one is where I actually provided a brown wash over the paper, and then of course made sure it doesn't bleed through entirely. And then this is where like first time doing like a map layout with compass provided, the scale and everything and such. I think let's see. Yeah, okay. Pretty much provided wide area for the snow, and then of course just kind of done some little stars for the capital, highways and cities or towns and such. After maps comes the masculine hair or a man's hair, and so I drew various male hairs from just like all the other drawings, different styles, characters from different shows or cartoons or video games and such. Um, However, I did not provide as to who's had what, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to recognize most people just based on the hairstyle itself and such. Now, next up is, of course, the feminine hair. For the feminine hair, of course, the same thing as masculine hair, and of course, I forgot to provide a who's who and such. Then after the feminine hair, there was called scribble art, and basically it's like just kind of like one of those drawings where like you're just kind of like drawing at random. There's no idea to it. It's like one of those times where you see your friend at school and they're just drawing whatever at random, and it'll just come out weird, or it's just kind of like unusual drawings and such, and you kind of get the idea and such. Uh, Take a pause right here to stop the video and upload recording, and then that's where I'm gonna go and transfer video onto the laptop, and then I'm gonna do the whole editing. Well, start recording for the next part. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next one, and it's number 21, the zombies. And this for the challenge was to like draw like take a poster or from a movie and just kind of zombify it, or maybe a character and just zombify it. And so I took the like a poster from the film Ready Player One and made it to Ready Zombie One. It's a little corny-ish and such, but pretty much you see like an arcade cabinet and joysticks, while the main character Wade wants it. He's pretty much a zombie and such, as he's just holding the key and everything. I want to say it's like medium favorite and such. The idea of concept, it was pretty cool and such, but me executing it, it's like nah. So the next two pages I'm going to show you back to back actually is called caricatures. If you ever like take a look at magazines, newspapers, you'll see like celebrities or politicians or other people, and they're kind of drawn to where kind of a bit deformed-ish kind of way. Like say for example, if like say there's this one person and they're known for like having like a big forehead, then you'll see their forehead is just much larger than their standard head. Or like if someone that's just like super skinny, you'll draw the person like more bony-ish and stuff like that. So you're kind of over exaggerating some of their features or details. I admit it's not my most favorite for both the male and the female characters, but it is what it is on my take. It's not my forte and such. So for the male, I picked Jack Dawson or Leonardo DiCaprio from the movie Titanic and such. And for the female, I picked the actress Helen Bonham Carter as Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter. And again, it's not much of a most favorite. So this next one is, of course, the ears, and you could draw the ears, and it's on both the male and female and such. And of course, I drew not only the ears, but the shape, but also like the ears from from again like cartoons or games and such, as well as the animals or elvish actually. The next one is fish, and so I drew various types of fish. And this one is also not much of my most favorite, but it's optical illusions. And this is like from drawings like S.C. Escher, I think I pronounced it right and such. And which is basically like some of the most famous drawings also, like I think it's from S.C. Escher, but of course this fountain thing in which the water's just like going into this little area and it's just falling down, but there's no indication that it was actually going up and such. The same with some of these blots or some of these shapes and such. It wasn't my most favorite, to be honest. Next one is the feet. Is actually did I forget something? Okay, so I actually forgot two things. So we're just gonna skip over two of the challenges and such. I could have sworn I had drawn them, but I guess not. So I'll probably go back to it. So next one here is single line, and what you do is you'll take your pencil and then you put it on the paper and you just start drawing, but you cannot lift the pencil up from it. You have to like keep it stay on the paper and such. So I drew, of course, Optimus Prime, Megatron, Cybertron about to be devoured by Unicron, the Autobot and Decepticon logo and such. Now number 30 is hands, and of course this was quite an interesting challenge for me as I try and draw various hands poses and such. The next one is called Monster, and I just drew like just kind of like just weird looking tripod like monster and such. Then this next one's called Meet the Artist, and of course you just draw like a little bit of a profile of the artist. So of course that will be like me in the more cartoonish animated style. Then of course my a little bit of information, my likes, dislikes, interests and such. Inside this box is just some of my favorite stuff. Then of course my car, and that's about it. And the next one was called Dinner, and I just drew like a soda with I think I had like at the time steak or something. That's quite alright really, especially with the lighting I had. And this next one's called Toys, and when I started the challenge I had an idea, but then upon finishing it I then said, you know what, maybe it's not the challenge. I mean, it'll be for something else or another illustration, but I just leave it as it is and such. So, but going back to the toys challenge, on my second try I basically drew almost everything in Bionicle. This time I wanted to do it in blue pen and pencil and just started drawing and such. Then there's music on the next challenge, and the host, he says what you could do is you could draw the maybe the instrument or your favorite singer, drummer, or composer. So I drew John Williams, and of course if you don't know who John Williams is, he's the guy who did the music for Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Jaws. Now after music comes mechanical insets, and what I did was I took a dragonfly and I made it into like a bit of a sci-fi helicopter-like spaceship vehicle and such. Now the 37 was called Pathway to Adventure, and what And it'll be like from the magazines you would see, and there's like a little dotted line over a picture drawing and such. And so I drew like a red pirate ship, and you see this person, he's coming across it, and I think it'll be hard to tell and such, but there's like dotted lines. I probably should use like a red or a blue pen or something, but dotted lines to show that hey, this person's gonna climb up, go through all the cabins and such, then just slide down to the ramp and continue on his way and such. Now this next one's called Comic, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the Sketchbook Challenge #1's character, Nintendo, and make a little mini comic for him. And what I wanted to do is make like this moment where like the villain's about to be defeated, he goes into a fit of a rage, and then all of a sudden he gains new health, and then he just upgrades. So for Snowy here, he was fighting up against an enemy, which is a flame. I haven't really thought of a name for it yet. And you can see Snowy was just throwing snowballs at the flame to try and stop him. He got tired and frustrated from Snowy, so he activated the button, and now his little mechanical robot it was in just upgraded to a more larger robot. And of course, you have a Snowy close up of Snowy's eyes as he sees that oh hey he's probably in some deep crap right now at the moment. After Comet, there was Sci-Fi Reptiles, so I picked a bit of a crocodile and gave it some mechanical legs and a bit of a belly to hold it up and such. Then there was trees and let me see if I can. Here we are, and this is where I kind of started doing a bit more with the colored pencils and just started drawing I picked the cherry blossom trees and just kind of like drew like a little mini small little park, and then just drew the cherry blossom trees and such. And the next one is called lettering, and it's basically like just like two different fonts of the lettering. So of course I went through most of the books I had to the sketchbooks just to get the fonts and see how it was just started up and such. Then this next one's called Steampunk Birds. And what you would do is you'll take a bird and you kind of steampunk it. And steampunk is one genre that's also not in my forte. So for this one, I just drew like your standard bird and just gave him like a little speaker to communicate, as well as little binoculars attaching to like a little hat and such. There's more to it on steampunk, but like I said, it was not much of a like a whole forte kind of thing. So after the birds, there was Legofy, and what you could do is you could create a Lego minifigure that you probably wanted or that you wish it would exist and such. I'm not sure if the third-party minifigures would count, but I avoided any third-party minifigures I saw, from Comic Cons to like other stuff. So here I drew a Fallout character, of a Vault hero character in Lego. So after Lego, there was Mashup, and what you'll do is you'll take a style from one series and put it with another series. Like for example, in the thumbnail for Matt Bush's challenge, he drew Dexter and Dee Dee in the style of wearing the clothing of the Joker and Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. So for me, I went with the character Luke Skywalker and drew him in a 1970s anime style, a drawing. In which case, it was kind of around like the Gundam's anime style. So here's the result. The next one is expressions, and so I drew like various characters, just drawing different expressions shown that I could think of. The easiest was, of course, the happy, sad, angry, laughter, those easy emotions that you can easily draw and such. And then I had to do a lot of looking around to see on how a character would look with other types of emotions, expressions, and of course, it all leads me back to anime, in which you could easily shown, easy where the expressions like easily shown, like you easily tell who's doing what and such. Then the next one's called visual diary, and you just kind of like it's like as though you're writing in your journal or your diary, and just write down how your day went, and you just kind of like add like little visual details and such. Then this next one's called Fantasy Mammal, and what you do is you take a mammal and you kind of put them in like medieval or fantasy clothing. So I just kind of like drew like a little mouse wearing a knight armor and such. Then the next ones are hero and villain, and here I drew a hero that I'm actually working on, and so his name is Luke Esperanza, and he has a mechanical horse named Jake. Excuse me. And then this one, it's for villain. And I drew one of the villain characters from the story that I'm working on involving Luke and Jake is this character. I believe I forgot what her name was, but for alias it's Ella. So this is how she looks. She doesn't look too menacing and such from a distance, but there's gonna be more provided and such, and the story itself. Now the last part of the challenge is called the Mad Fold-In, and if you've seen the Mad magazines long time ago, or any other magazine, you'll see that there's a page where you could just fold the page over and there'll actually be an image within an image kind of thing. So here I drew, of course, the Godzilla character Biolante, but when you fold it over and such, it actually shows a rose and such. Sorry. Sorry, excuse me. So that's about it on the sketchbook challenges. I'll go back and do the two that I actually missed, and I cannot believe that I actually missed the challenges and such. But anyways, that's about it for this sketchbook. I still have quite a bit of pages left blank. I'll go over them. I'm gonna use this sketchbook for probably some figure drawings, as well as some more rough sketches, or anything to kind of help out with some drawing and such. But anyways, everybody, that's the end of the sketchbook challenge by Matt Bush. Tune in for the next video coming up, which is like an Inktober kind of video. And until next time, everybody, see you soon.